Hey, this is Peter from Canales Counseling. Today I wanted to talk about fear. Fear is something that a lot of us struggle with sometimes. We try to do things, but then there's this pending fear, a sense of doom that kind of limits us from reaching the potential and doing the things that we want to do. Fear can be easily defined as something like a primal emotion that evokes a emotional response, a biochemical and emotional response. Alerts us. Fear alerts us to presence of danger or threat of harm, whether that danger is physical or psychological. So fear itself has its purposes. Fear is an essential survival coping mechanism. I mean, it helps us to react to potentially life-threatening situations that we need to avoid. So, to say that fear is wrong in all essence of it, no, that's not correct. Fear has its place. Where the struggle is for a lot of us is when fear becomes limiting. When fear becomes thought rumination, and it keeps us from doing the things that we want to do. We're living in a world, some of us, I know there are some people who call this world a big matrix, or they call it a simulation, on all these other things. And I'm not in the field of expertise to talk on that subject matter. There are plenty of people out there who are really good at talking about that topic. There's a gentleman by the name of Jason Brashears. He is on archaics.com. Does a magnificent job of not only talking about the simulation that a lot of people refer to this realm or this existence to, but he gives great historical, chronological evidence to support what he's talking about. So it's not my place to even make an intent to try to talk about that. But I will talk about how fear, if you're looking at it through a lens of that it's almost in us innately predetermined, it is programs in a way that I can't talk about, because in essence it is. All you have to do is reflect back to 2020 when the whole situation happened. For me, that year is such a marker in, I think, humanity's history, because there's pre-2020 and after 2020. During that time period, as we all know, there were certain things happening, and fear was the driving force of it all. Every time you turned on the news, every time you watched a report, every time you heard the latest numbers of people who passed, it was all driven by fear. Fear is what kept a lot of people in their homes. Fear is what made them do decisions that otherwise they would have not done. So how do you manage fear? How do you manage when your fear now is dealing with, am I good enough for something? How am I going to move on without the loss of this person? How am I going to deal with this fear of abandonment? How am I going to deal with the fear of death, fear of sickness, fear of pain, the loss of an identity? There's so many ways that fear manifests itself in our everyday lives. And this is where we have to kind of use common sense. And really, I tell people all the time to just step back. Don't let fear be the thing that robs you of living. Don't let fear be the subject that deters you from living your life or doing the things that you want to do. Yes, you can be cautious. Yes, you can use reasoning and all the other things to make decisions that are going to benefit you in your best interest. Obviously, that's going to happen. What I'm talking about is when the fear is so pervasive, it keeps you from even leaving your home. It keeps you from wanting to establish or further relationships. It keeps you from trying to do things that in the end will probably benefit you better than the situation you are currently in. That's the fear that I'm currently talking about. Don't let it rob you from doing the things or becoming the person that you're supposed to become. We can all, attribute that this world, yes, this world is horrible and it has a lot of things that are going wrong in it, and everybody has this sense of pending doom. But if you're going to let that fear limit you from trying, you're going to let it limit you from moving forward, then you are not doing the things that you're supposed to be doing in this realm, in this world, in this lifetime, in your existence. We are all here for a purpose. We are all here in this world, in this realm, the simulation, if you want to call it that, the simulacrum, if you want to call it that, however you define it, however you call it. There is a purpose that you are existing in this time and space and place right now. Whether you call it by divine intervention, whether it was a soul contract, as I heard many people call it, doesn't matter what you define it or call it as. There's a purpose for you here. And if you allow fear to deter you from your purpose, to limit you from your purpose, to keep you from achieving and doing the things that you are supposed to be doing, then you're failing. We're failing. All of us are failing if we allow that to happen. Because one of the things that I think we're here for is to overcome situations like that. It's to overcome fear. It's to overcome limitations, barriers, things that restrict us from our growth and from our progress to become who we are meant to become and to do the things that we were meant to do. So don't allow fear to rob you. Don't allow fear to keep you from living and doing the things that you want to do. I think the opposite of fear is faith. Sometimes they're both based, I think, on things that you really can't see. A lot of times we create this fear in our minds of things that haven't happened yet. And because of that unknown, it restricts you from doing the things that you want to do. Faith, I think, is the opposite of that. Faith, even though it's something that we cannot see, we cannot touch, we cannot feel, but it's as long as you have faith, I think you can overcome your fear. Because faith is believing in yourself and believing in the things that you want to do and believing in a change to become a better version of you. That faith in a higher power, in a higher universe, however you want to describe it, is what should be your anchor when dealing in the sea of fear. Don't let that sea of fear drown you or prevent you from reaching that shoreline of new horizons and of new possibilities. This is Peter from Canales Counseling, and that's just, food for thought today. Thanks. I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you who have subscribed as of now. I thank you for your support. I don't have a Patreon, so if you want to contribute monetarily, there are links below where you can purchase t-shirts of many different types. I have them on Amazon, TeePublic, Redbubble. Some of the proceeds go to different charity organizations in the community, including animal shelters. So this is the best way to support the channel, I think. You get a cool t-shirt, get to help some local charities and help animals and at the same time. So click the link, share, subscribe, and I thank you for your support. Thank you much. Be safe.